All right, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever you come across this recording. Welcome back to 55 Days of Christ Consciousness. We are on now day 9. And as I've said before, it might be consecutive days, it may be a couple days apart, or maybe weekly. It just depends on my availability to do it. But nonetheless, it's each day at your own convenience. Connect with the Christ Consciousness deck. You can connect with these energies at any time that you come across it. And again, this is about you and your higher guidance. So take what resonates with you and leave the rest. And if it sparks some insight for yourself or some sort of piece in the puzzle, fantastic. But this is really about your journey, even though I might draw in some insights and guidance. It's really trust your intuition and higher guidance throughout all of this. Christ consciousness energies are not exclusive. They're in everybody. That means you listening now. We are currently in a process of another level of integration and heart opening and a convergence of love. For those of you willing to step through that open doorway and that threshold to leave your old versions behind, leave all the illusions of that were laid upon your energetic imprint behind, and just let them fall away. Step through that doorway like we were talking about in day 8, in that threshold and into that space of nurturing and love and care where everything is just held in its highest quality available to you, because you are that. Your true essence is love. So as I was shuffling here, the card of forgiveness popped out today. So before we get started, I'm Gina Libido, Soul Inspired Reflections. Feel free to like and share this video and subscribe to be notified of any updated recordings and readings I might post. And if you'd like to email me for a personal reading, you're welcome to do so at gina@soulinspiredreflections.com. But less about that, more about you and this reading and this card. So we'll, before we get really, really into it, for some reason, my chest has started to bother me. The air quality today seems heavy. Like in an earlier reading I did, we were talking about the thymus gland, respiratory, mid-thoracic, and how we're going through this expansion and opening of the soul star chakra above the crown, and how forgiveness is a piece of that. So it just feels really pertinent that as you are waking into yourself, your essence, coming into your nomad and direct connection to divine source within you, that this card of forgiveness sets you free. That if you go to an earlier reading today of July 2nd, 2023 that I posted, we talked just about that, of how forgiveness sets you free and brings healing forward. So how synchronistic. This is how God works. There's synchronicities. When a message needs to be said and connected to, the synchronicities happen for you in your life. So maybe some of you are having some synchronicities come to the surface, and pay attention to that. And because there's information for you in that. Hold on just one sec. Needed to grab my excuse me, my plug here. So yeah, something's happening with throat chakra, but also very much connected as I breathe in. And that wasn't happening earlier. It was starting as I was preparing for today's reading for the Christ Consciousness deck. So paying attention to that. Sometimes things for me as I work with energy, it'll show up in the body as a guide, and then to speak more about. So I'm going to just pause for a moment just to refill my water. And yeah, just give me one brief moment. All right, I'm back now. It's okay. I'm back now. One of the dogs I'm dog sitting for is a little barky and communicative um, when people walk by. So anyway, we will navigate that as needed. So back to forgiveness, and it tied into that earlier reading from today. So you may want to take a look at it. But look at this also, that we have that violet color here. We have the, the lilac, the, we were talking about the soul star chakra. And if we're working with the Metatron color healing sprays, the soul star chakra is lavender. Look at that, right? And part of that soul star awakening is a big forgiveness component, right? And not only forgiving yourself, but really going to your I am presence, your soul to soul, heart to heart, to those in your history, your soul history, that are still harboring the energies that are holding you back, meaning they haven't been able to forgive you, or from whatever circumstances occurred during those incarnations and experiences or parallel light timelines, because everything exists all at once, right? But we are here in this timeline. And for those of you coming across this reading, I would imagine on some level you are recognizing you are on your path of light, your path of awakening, expansion, the integration of your etheric body and physical body. So you're heaven to earth, right? Your light to matter, the masculine and feminine, like the light from God above into the mother, the earth, the matter, the physicality, right? Your father, mother, God within you is becoming more and more balanced, and you're leading, your soul is calling you to lead a life of purpose. And that shows up for you in its divine way, as it shows up for me in its divine way. And it's all perfect, as we are a unified field of love, and oneness with all of life. So those of you coming across this, you're recognizing what you do in your healing journey, your evolution matters, because it affects the whole of everything, the whole of life. It raises and supports the raising of the planet, because she too, Gaia, Earth, has her own consciousness and her own timeline to come and return to her true essence that we have collectively just really shown such disrespect to, and have treated so horribly to our whole of planet Earth. And we've shrouded her essence. Yet we can be reminded of the beauty of it every day at the same time. And how might that be a mirror to you too, in the power of forgiveness, that the Mother Earth continues to nurture you, continues to provide for you, even when stretched to the ends of her own bandwidth of survival, perhaps. And stepping into her own reset and ascension to go into her true essence and divine right among the universe, into her divine blueprint. How might you walk together in that? So how might she forgive you in all of our wrongdoings collectively as humanity, and even on an individual level? Right? And so let's bring that back to you on the micro, right? What if things are a mirror to us? If things are a mirror to us as we walk through life, and this earthly realm, the holographic realm, because everything can be referred to as a holographic world. If it's a mirror of who we are, then how might you have the ability and strength within you to also forgive and continue to nurture and love all those who, in your eyes, perhaps harmed you emotionally, physically, mentally, in some way? And vice versa, on every soul lifetime you've ever had. because the energy runs through you. The energy runs through you. But look at that deep healing in the center and hope with those colors of green and almost a lime green. There's hope in that. It's almost like an olive branch of peace. And then look at the freedom from breaking these chains, these barbed wire hooks into doves of freedom. So that your forgiveness and healing, both of yourself and others, and vice versa, and those forgiving you. And you can bring healing and harmonizing to the soul star chakra. What freedom might that give you and every person involved? And it's real. It's palpable. The energy, when you, because all of you coming across this on some level or another are recognizing that you are multisensory and have so much depth in your knowing, in your ability of sight, meaning through the third eye, even the downloads that you get through, they come as easily through thought and then go into the gut sometimes in the heart. And you're just like, I just have this deep knowing. This is what I see, right? This is what I see in my mind's eye. We've all said that phrase or something like it before. So how might you go into your heart, into your divine spark, connect to your higher self, and visualize the forgiveness that you are sending and harmonizing within yourself, and to all those that may be harboring ill will or the past circumstances, and bring forgiveness to that. And ask soul to soul and just say, let's be free of all of this together. Let's be free of the anger. Let's be free of the disappointment that's within all of us. Because there's no longer anything to disappoint or be angry about when you are in your divine essence and recognize that all these experiences have led each and every single one of us to our divinity inside. And so it's in that act of forgiveness that you free yourself and you free others, because it's not just one dove. It's multiple. It's that whole chain. It's the whole link that all those barbed wire fences, the symbolism of that, all those barbed hooks, they just become free and dissipate, and they turn into this beautiful, lush greenery. Like, as I've said before, it turns into growth. It turns into expansion. It nurtures your soul. And look at that portal of light behind them, the opening that occurs in that golden light that surrounds that lilac. The ability for the wisdom of it all to come through, the wisdom of your soul to come through, the wisdom of your divine blueprint, energetic energy to come through that perhaps is the purest ever, because you're cleaning it and purifying and drawing the wisdom through these experiences and letting go of the experiences. They're no longer attached to you in any way, mentally, emotionally, physically. You're stepping further and further into your divine essence, your God Christ, your consciousness, your Christ consciousness, your God consciousness. It's a level of attainment. Remember that we all have the ability to step into each and every moment with each and every thought, each and every action. So with that being said, it just feels like let's turn to the book and see what the book has to share and any insight on that. And for those of you that like to, I take you notice to the number 13 in the numerology, that's the card here. Perhaps I'll look that up in a moment. It feels like it might have some significance for some of you. But first to the card, read the book. I don't really feel called and not really hearing the nudging through Metatron or Jesus to pull additional cards just yet. But if so, I will double check again if need be. So forgiveness sets you free. One of the central teachings of Jesus was forgiveness, as he knew it held within it the most powerful catalyst for positive change, freeing you and bringing in new possibilities and hope. Pulling this card may imply there is someone or something you need to forgive. Their deeds that hurt you may have been small or enormous, short or long term, and the damage to your physical, mental, and emotional health may be considerable. However, the act of forgiving is a process that can start today via a gesture, a thought, or simply a willingness. Hold on just a second. All right, thank you so much for your patience today. A lot of interruptions, and sometimes this happens in our journey, things interrupting us, keeping us off our path of light. How do we handle that with grace? How do we focus on something and then come back to our center and return to like, hey, this is where my focus must be now in my soul's purpose? And that can be a challenging thing for all of us. So, however, the act of forgiving is a process that can start today via a gesture, a thought, or simply a willingness to let go of the past. Forgiving is a present tense action. It does not negate what may have happened previously or pretend it didn't occur. It simply marks a line in the sand that from now on, you'll give less attention to what they did wrong and more to moving beyond it. Whatever has occurred does not define you. It is one part of much larger whole that makes up your multifaceted soul. Forgiveness is a card number 13 in this deck and a nod to mastery. Okay, looks like I might not even have to pull that up. A nod to mastery, and it's your self-mastery. Okay, since it isn't easy or the first thing we think of doing when we are hurt, it can take time. However, as a part of path of healing, it is vital, since not to do so hardens our heart. It keeps up our defenses and line of attack and can keep us in victimhood energy rather than the survivor who thrives. The 13th number always represents rebirth and what lies beyond the ashes of the old. Forgiveness frees you. So today, think about where you feel tied to a past transgression, act of betrayal, violation, or unkind word or deed. And this includes you being in those roles. Did you betray something? Did you have deeds that were unkind? Right? And because it's everybody, every soul involved in those, every soul involved. The forgiveness comes from every angle, but you begin with you because that's all you have control over. Okay. It may be that you seek to understand another's motives, to see things from different perspectives, or to learn something, or it might be unfathomable, but forgiveness is the same remedy that will help you now. We are not in control of how another behaves or acts, but we are able to control our own responses to it. Over time, forgiveness will always come knocking, looking for the right moment to build bridges or simply allow you to let go with love. This card shows former enemies across the barricades embracing as they recognize that by fighting each other, they are fighting their fellow brother. It shows that nothing is too big to be forgiven and that much inner work will have preceded the embrace. Okay, I'm going to say that again, this line again, because it's important for many of us, because you have to be able to forgive even the darkest of deeds. Okay. It shows that nothing is too big to be forgiven. Nothing. And then I'm going to emphasize, nothing is too big. Working with Christ consciousness energies within you and the compassion of Christ. Nothing is too big to be forgiven because we all in our essence, in our divine essence and spiritual being of light, are love. And if we're all part of the oneness, we must be able to forgive each other because in the eyes of someone else, we are that aspect at one time or another in our soul lifetime experiences. So maybe this too is just please forgive me while I'm being interrupted. It's so interesting. What is within you that might be interfering with forgiveness? What are you holding on to? Because this must be an important message if I keep getting interrupted, that it's something about it does not want to be allowed to come through potentially. But we're going to get this message through to you because your hearts and soul knows what it needs to do. And sometimes our humanness gets in the way. So I invite you to, our lower ego gets in the way, our shame. And working with Christ consciousness energies, there is no shame. There's only returning to love, returning to forgiveness, showing yourself grace, showing yourself compassion as well as others. And it can take some time to get there in your journey of healing. And it's okay if you're not there yet. Go as far as you can and know that's enough. And know that's enough. Because the light within you is always there. The love within you is always there. And when you're ready, you'll continue to let that in and let it shine bright, forgiving yourself and others. And be able to perhaps embrace that part of you that's warring. Because that person on the other side is you. So how might you embrace the light in that other person? And remember, we're part of the same light. Returning to light within ourselves. Returning to light within yourself and becoming that unified front of love. Unified field of love. And it's inside you this entire time. So how might you forgive past transgressions? From yourself, from others, all parties involved, and let go of any ill will and anything holding you back from this embrace and joy and welcome home to your heart, to your essence, to your I am presence. Let's see where we left off. It shows nothing is too big. Oh, yes, it shows nothing is too big to be forgiven, and that much inner work, there we go, and that much inner work will have preceded the embrace. Putting down arms is a gift, not just to those involved, but every generation that follows. We are shown how Jesus acted when he forgave. A pertinent teaching was, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do, which seems especially relevant for these changing days where many are still blind to their own higher consciousness. Many are blind to their own higher consciousness. And in these changing times right now, we've just passed the solstice energy, another big portal of golden light that has come in. Many of you are opening further into your divine heart, opening in your divine blueprint and Christ consciousness, being fully integrated or heading closer to that. And with that energy comes chaos. For those souls that don't have the ability or tools or awareness to step through that threshold just yet. Okay, thanks. There was another brief interruption, but I think we had a nice pause, a little timely break, right? And sometimes it's how the path goes. You get a little bit and then you have to pause. And then you're just like, I just can't forgive that just yet. And you get pulled away back into whatever mental or emotional piece that barb is hooked into you. And if it's hooked into you, that means it's perhaps still hooked into the other person in some way because that cord still exists. So how might you ease that today? Maybe it's a time of reflecting what part of something in your life can be forgiven today. And it just can be one thing, because that sometimes is enough. And the healing and release will happen for everybody in its own divine time. So when you heal yourself and you come to that forgiveness and it's harmonized within you and reconciled within you, in time, that other soul, whether it's this life or another, will do the same. But that's not for you to be overly concerned with, but you can pray for that. When we know better and have Christ's footsteps to follow, we are encouraged to be the one who holds the olive branch of healing out to another, knowing that we will be surrounded by spiritual help, light, and protection in doing so. The embrace of two souls who were lost to each other is greeted by a chorus of joy in heavenly realms, just as the cries that came before it are watched over and held to. Forgiveness can also be an act we need to give ourselves when we have been our own worst critic, driven ourselves too hard, abused ourselves, or not looked after our own needs. So yeah, this forgiveness comes back to you as well when you have treated yourself poorly and are in that, speak poorly about yourself and perhaps in that victim place and hard on yourself and repeating things that perhaps were laid upon you and you began to believe them. And you can forgive yourself for that and forgive how it even got there. Forgiveness can also be an act we need to gift ourselves. So remember that. However, forgiveness figures for you right now. Tread softly with love and the deep wisdom within and take a step toward it now. Just take one step toward it now. Sometimes that one step is big enough to change your whole life. And perhaps that's all you need right now. So we're going to ask the deck. I'm going to ask Metatron which deck to pull from, just for some guidance for you on how you might be able to support coming to forgiveness with something. The flower deck, angels, keepers of light. So we're going to pull from the Archangel deck by Diana Cooper. And we're just going to see which angels want to come out to support you in your forgiveness journey. It's a very important part of the healing journey and your harmonization of your body, of your light body and being in your soul. All right, this one jumped out right away. Archangel, there we go. Archangel Metatron. Increase your light levels, open your stellar gateway chakra. So stellar gateway chakra, and look at those beautiful orange and yellow hues. Now, Archangel Metatron holds all the colors. He governs the ascension process. So it's no surprise that he is coming out full force today in this part of the reading. But there's also that ability to access your soul record, your Akashic record, right? Because also we were talking about the soul star waking up, and that's the chakra above your head, and how forgiveness plays a big part in releasing the limitations of our past, right? And asking that others forgive us and through that as well, in every timeline, every soul history. So if you need additional guidance, ask Archangel Metatron to assist you to increase your light levels and perhaps bring forth a higher perspective by accessing your Akashic record, and ask him to do so because he governs the Akashic records. And sit in meditation and contemplation and go with your question and ask without any expectation of what the response may be, and be open to a very expanded response, because it may be what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. And it may be a response that you feel has nothing to do with the question you even asked, but the healing must occur from that perspective. They're somehow energetically tied together because it's for your highest good and to bring your awareness. So ask on Archangel Metatron, because he will assist to increase your light levels in that regard to forgiveness in whatever situation you're asking, because sometimes we need the expanded view. And that's where your self-mastery comes in. That number 13, you're learning to master and be a master and look at things from the higher perspective, that bird's eye view, from the I am presence and the good of all. What happened here for the highest good of everyone, right? Because there may have been some soul lessons on the other parties that were involved that make it hard for you to forgive. But when you're in that place of recognizing everything is to lead us all back home into our light, into the oneness and in the unified field, unity, then there is no duality. There is no light or dark. There is no right or wrong. There just is, to support you return to you, your essence. It reminds me of The Little Soul in the Sun by Neil Donald Walsh. The soul agreements we have for each other so we can learn our lessons and return to wholeness through the sensory body, through the physical body, the mental, emotional body. It is through Jesus we resurrect ourselves through those teachings of compassion and forgiveness and healing. It's the metaphor, it's through the teachings, but you physically will go through the experience. So how might you bring in more light to these experiences, learn to alchemize them, harmonize them, and be in gratitude, be with grace, be with generosity? Because all the souls involved in your life, whether this lifetime or others, and as your soul as well, are serving each other for the highest good possible, that we don't even have the ability to really comprehend fully. We can just comprehend an aspect of it. And so you are living and breathing your new record as you speak, as you walk. And it is only through you that you have the power to change and raise your frequency in intervals of light. Archangel Metatron could guide you through that process. He will clear the path before you, but you must take the steps. You must do the work. You must be willing to see the truth of all that is. And be surrendered to the divine will of God as your third eye expands. And your soul star is purified and comes online fully. So some of you are in the process of opening up your stellar gateway. And with that also is important to ground. Because when you ground and activate your Earth Star chakra, that sends a signal to the heavens, to Metatron, that you are ready to take that next level into your, some refer to as ascension, your soul awakening. And so with that, when you begin to activate your Earth Star chakra, which is about 3.5 feet below outside of your body, your light body is being activated on a whole nother level because you on some level are ready. Your soul is ready. So you'll notice your language is changing, what you're drawn to changes. And those will be the signs for you that you're beginning to go, oh, I want to have more love in my life. I want to live my life with more purpose. Those are all soul guided questions. What is my purpose here? Well, I cannot tell you what your purpose is here. I can highly encourage and know this piece that part of all of our souls is to integrate our Christ consciousness or God consciousness and become 5-dimensional beings of love and light and above, and hold life through that lens, that multifaceted lens, and our experiences through those lenses, through the diamond-faceted diamonds that we all are, or depicted as, because you are the diamond, you are the prism, you are the color, you are Metatron. But since some of you probably coming across this don't have the energetic sustainability yet, we work with the angelic realm to support that. You work with your daily practices of grounding, meditation, walking, movement of the body, contemplation, self-reflection, not a thing to analyze and nitpick every little thing, because that's not necessary. But it's to bring awareness and mindset and go, oh, okay, my body's holding on to this still. What is it that I need to see and bring forgiveness or harmonize to so I can release it and alchemize it? Because it never really, it leaves the body, but it's there in the body. It's both and. It's kind of, you're turning it back into light, so it's no longer triggered anymore. It no longer holds any power over you because you are in your personal power of your essence. So connect with Archangel Metatron, and his energy will support you through this awakening process that some of you are coming across at this time, or whatever level of your process you're coming across. Build that relationship, as we were talking about in that prior post I had on a convergence through love. Build that relationship with the unseen forces and realms within you that are depicted as the angelic realm, ascended master healers, our galactic families, like Arcturian, our Lemurian families, our earth, our underground, our earth network, Telos, other galactic beings of light, because we are all those things. And so you'll know what you're guided to do and what attributes you'll be working with, right? You might be a Syrian or galactic family, but we're aspects of all those things because it's the oneness. It's a unified field of love and part of the whole of universe, which is in you, and you are part of the universe. So you're not separate from anything unless you continue to believe that you are. So Metatron, ask for his guidance. Ground with Archangel Sandalphon, his divine complement, 3.5 feet below your body, outside a chakra center outside of your body. And keep in mind that there's a convergence happening through love. And these energetic centers are evolving and becoming one whole system, operating system that's functioning with more synthesis and taking on a whole new shape as well. But just be right exactly where you need to be so you can bring one more thing of forgiveness in your life. Just one, just choose one and work with that. Much love to all of you. Have a really blessed day and stay tuned for day 10. I'm Gina Lobito. Again, I'm Gina Lobito with Soul Inspired Reflections. And if you'd like a personal reading, you're welcome to email me at Gina@soulinspiredreflections.com. And I'd be happy to support you along your journey to gain clarity for your highest good in this present moment. Much love to all of you.